If you are under the age of 18, the content of this video is not intended for you. Please stop watching now. Hey YouTube, it's Audrey, and I'm here with the April installment of my Work With It Wednesday series. With this series, I am using tools and specialty products that I have bought but have never used, and I'm creating with them just to start using the things that I have. And I invite you all to play along. The hashtag will be in the description box. I do this on the last Wednesday of the month. I am not sure how long I'll do it. I have enough tools and stuff probably to do it for a long time. So we will just see how long it lasts. So for this installment, I decided to use some of my layering stencils. Now, I had one set of larger layering stencils that I used in a project last year, but I have since gotten some of these smaller ones that are a little different. They have like a background and then either florals or geometrics. I got two sets of them. From Crafter's Companion. I got them pretty much on a deal in like one of their specials that they do all the time, where you get a set at a super reduced rate. So I got a couple sets, 4 or 5, and then there's a special one I will show you. But these are just some of the ones where they have 3 layers to create backgrounds with. So these are just some of the ones that I have. And I mean, there's flowers, butterflies, geometrics. So I still have these to use, and I'm going to start using those more often. I also use some delicata inks that actually, this green one I had never opened before. Got them on clearance at Hobby Lobby. The gold one I have used once or twice, and I think the silver one I had used once. So I used those 3. I used this navy blue embossing powder that I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby, I think probably last year. And then I use these. Now, I had not opened these before, so this is my first time using these. It is the Metallic Pigment Ink Midas by Spectrum Noir, who is Crafter's Companion. So I had the blue organza. I used the rose satin, the pink lace, and the jade green. So those were fun to play with. And I used these sponges you can see here. I used just the regular old cosmetic sponge from Walmart that I cut up and used those instead of using my blending tools. So I made 2 things that are going to be card fronts. So in this one, I'm just going to kind of show you instead of doing the process online, because everybody has seen people stencil. So, well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people have seen people stencil. So I didn't want to do that on camera, but I kind of wanted to highlight these because not everybody has seen the layering stencils. So I used this one here, which is like an argyle pattern. And there are 3 stencils. There's the first one. Then there's the second one. As you can see, this, well, actually, this is the first. This one doesn't matter with these 2, but this is the first one. This is the second one. And this is the third one. So I used those 3 with these inks, and I decided to see how the inks would work with black paper, and they did. So for the first layer, As you can see, I use the silver Delicata ink. For the second layer, or second stencil, I used the blue organza from Spectrum Noir. Then for the last one, this is where I got a bit adventurous. This one kind of worked my patience a little bit because I decided I wanted to emboss the dots. Well, trying to get the embossing ink, I used Versamark. On here, I rubbed the pad across here and thought that would work, and it didn't. So then I kind of had to move it, and it got off a little bit, as you can see down here in the corner and up here. So what I ended up doing was getting a sponge and just daubing it all over. And then Versamark is not as easy to clean off your stencil. So if you do that, just be mindful of that and try and get it off as quickly as possible. But anyway, that's what I did. I used Versamark, and then I used that navy blue embossing folder. And it's not perfect, but it kind of looks rustic. One of the things I will say is that you need to make sure that your other inks are dry before you do this. There were some areas of the ones that I had already inked that were still a little wet, but again, I think it worked in this instance because it just adds a little bit more texture, a little bit more of a kind of distressed look. So I kind of like the way this turned out, and I will use this as on a card, and then, you know, probably put sentiments or some kind of embellishments on top of it. So that was the first one that I did. Now the next one, this was the specialty one that I was talking about. I wanted one of these to try, but this is a set with a 3D embossing folder and then 2 layering stencils. And there are quite a few of these that Crafter's Companion makes, but as I said, I wanted to try one. There's a lot of them with flowers, and there's one that I really like that has a hummingbird on it, so I hope to get that one. But here's the 3D embossing folder that comes with it, and it's a very detailed embossing folder. And then you have the 2 layers of stencils. So I used that set to make this one, and I really love the way that this one turned out. As you can see, the embossing there on the back, so it's deep embossing of the roses. So in the first layer, I used the lighter shade of the pink, and then also the lighter shade of the green. And then this is the first layer that goes on top. So you emboss it first, and then you line up the stencil with the embossing. And then you go over it with whichever colors of ink you choose first. I chose the lighter colors first. So once I got those all inked, then I took the second one and went over it with the darker color. So like I added the darker color green, and then you really can't see a lot of the difference in the 2 pinks that I used, but in person you can see, especially like right there, you could see that there's a different color around the edge, especially like right here also. And then what I did was, while I had this one on here, I just took another sponge and dabbed it in gold and just dabbed gold randomly. So like there's a little here, there's a little here, there's a little here. So I had some gold highlights on there. So like you can see gold here, 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 like right there. And then once I took the stencils off, I went over and took the sponge and just kind of rubbed the gold in different places. Well, before I did that, I used the sponge that I had pink on, and just with what ink was left, just kind of edged those and highlighted some of those background diamonds. And then I took the gold and just kind of pounced gold in different places so that it had some gold highlights. So hopefully you are able to see some of that. So this is what I've done for Work With It Wednesday this time. I actually liked working with the 3D version, and I will probably buy another one eventually, or two of these sets, because I really like the way they turned out. I think this one turned out okay. I'm sure it'll work better with regular inking of the dots instead of trying to do the embossing. But on regular color paper with regular color ink and a blending tool, I'm sure that stencil will come out looking quite nice as far as an argyle pattern. But anyway, that's what I've done for this week. And I thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great and blessed day, and I'll see you for Work With It Wednesday next month, and I'll see you with a couple other projects in between that time. So thank you so much for watching, and you have a great and very blessed day. Bye-bye.